In this video, we want to solve the exponential equation involving the exponential e to the x and e to the minus x. We'll give an exact answer and an approximate answer to 3 decimal places. So we'll start off by clearing it of fractions. Multiply here by 2. That'll give me e to the x minus e to the minus x. 2 here cancels. And then on the right side, 2 times 2 gives me 4. And then I've got e to the negative x here. Again, I'm going to multiply now by e to the x. So I've got e to the x then times e to the x here gives me e to the 2x. It's minus, and then e to the minus x, and e to the x is e to the 0. So that's 1. And on the right side, I get 4 times e to the x. Then I'm going to rewrite this. So this will be e to the 2x here. Bring this over to the other side, or adding a negative 4 e to the x to both sides. It'll give me a plus, or minus, I should say, minus 4 e to the x. I'll leave this here. Then so you can see this a little bit more clearly, I'm going to write this as e to the x quantity squared minus 4 e to the x minus 1. And that's equal to 0. Now replace this e to the x by, say, a y. I would have y squared minus 4y minus 1 is equal to 0. So you can think of this as a quadratic equation, except the variable is e to the x. You could use a substitution, but it's not needed. This doesn't factor. In other words, this would be a y squared here minus 4y minus 1 is equal to 0. You try to factor it in terms of y, it doesn't factor. So we would use the quadratic formula. So what we'll do then is say, okay, the variable is e to the x, so e to the x would equal 2. And the coefficient here of e to the x is 1. So a would be 1. For the using the quadratic formula, a would be 1. B would be negative 4. And your c would be negative 1. And then we just plug it into the formula. Quadratic formula states the variable you're solving for, in this case we're solving for e to the x, and then eventually we'll solve for x. It's minus b. Okay, so we look at b is negative 1. So you minus that, that's a plus 4. And then it's a minus, and then it's the square root of, and then the discriminant here under the radical is b squared. Okay, b is negative 4, so you square that. That's a 16. And then it's a minus 4ac. 4ac. A is 1 and c is negative 1. And in the denominator you have 2 times a. A is 1. Then we just simplify this. So this will be 4 minus the square root of, so negative here, and then a 4, and then a 1, and negative. So this is just 16 plus 4. That's 20. And that's over 2. Now we got all the simplification done. And this, of course, is plus or minus for the formula. So here's plus or minus here. So come back up here then and say e to the x is equal to, and then 20 is 4 times 5. So we can simplify that radical there. This will be 4 then, plus or minus. Square root of 4 is 2. That comes outside the radical. And it's the square root of 5. And that's over 2. And we can simplify this by dividing through by 2. So 4 divided by 2 will give me a 2. And then 2 goes into 2. It's be a 1. So this is just be 2 plus or minus the square root of 5. So we can write this then, just like when you do solve a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. You could have two possible answers. So we could say here e to the x then can equal to 2 plus square root of 5, or e to the x can equal the other value, 2 minus the square root of 5. Now keep in mind though that 2 subtract the square root of 5, the square root of 5 is larger than 2, so this is going to be negative. E to the x is always a positive number. You take any positive base, and e is a positive base, to any power, that's always going to be positive, so it cannot equal to a negative. So this one you have to reject. No possible answer from this. 2 plus the square root of 5, that's good. So what we'll do here is just take the natural log of both sides. Take the natural log of this side here. So this would be natural log of this side and the natural log of this side. Because I have base of e here for the log, the left side is just going to give me x. And the right side I'll have natural log of 2 plus square root of 5. So the exact answer is this right here. X is equal to the natural log of 2 plus 5. Or the approximate answer, you take a calculator and compute the natural log of 2 plus the square root of 5. The approximate answer to 3 decimal places is 1 decimal 4 4 4. So exact and approximate value to 3 decimal places. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.